Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At Home Dad Network. My name is Brock,
My name is Danny.
and we are here to talk about life as stay at home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight, got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet, cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. Hope you've had a great week. Hope you still have all your limbs.
I got all 10 fingers.
all 10 fingers, all 10 toes. I don't know. Who knows?
And
Anyway,
why
yeah.
are you saying you hope we have all 10 fingers and toes, Brock?
I mean, sometimes crazy things happen.
Explosives?
Something, yeah, for 4th of July, man,
Yeah.
Everybody wants to blow something up.
Have you seen that meme that it's a picture of someone like their x-ray or whatever, and they only have like two fingers left, and it's like the week before July 4th, and this will be the final week for a lot of people to have all 10 fingers. And it's just so very like important and poignant, and yes, but it's also kind of like, come on, man, don't yuck my yum. I want to blow stuff up. What's the problem?
I'm just waiting to see all the different TikToks come through, honestly, because those are always fun. One of my
You know it.
favorite people to follow is a woman by the name of Nurse Sam, and she's a country, like she works at like a country hospital or something like that, and so people come in with different
Oh
different
yeah.
things. So I know that like a year, I think it was like last year, she had one where a farmer came in. He was trying to get rid of like a groundhog or something like that, and came in with some of his digits in a cooler.
Oh, I mean that's awful,
So,
but that's
yeah,
also hilarious.
you just never know. Anything's possible. I mean, I've got friends that
Yeah.
work in medical, so you just all kinds of good stuff. I don't know if I told you. Did I tell you that New Year's Eve at midnight, at the stroke of midnight this year, that two different people accidentally got shot while shooting their firearms off in celebration of the new year here in
Like
town.
like shooting it into the air
Like,
or
yeah,
because
somebody
I
like,
got a huge problem with that. That's
yeah. Oh no, I do too. Trust me. I came home and heard the gunfire and was like, we need to get in the house now. Like, I don't know what's
mhm.
going on. It's not close, but it's close enough. And I talked to a friend of mine, and actually his wife was like, "Oh yeah, actually we had two different situations come in where the people had walked outside to like just they walked out on their balconies of their like apartments or whatever,
Mhm.
and stray bullets actually like got them like in the butt cheek
Yeah.
and in the calf."
Oof.
And I'm just like, "Holy crap."
$1 million wound.
So, and
Something jumped
that's
up
my
and bit
only
me.
thing, man. I'm like, fireworks, shoot them off, have a great time. Keep the firearms in the house. Like, there's no need for
Yeah.
that.
This is not for celebration. And I get it because firing a firearm is thrilling. I mean,
Of
that is a
course it is.
huge thing. I mean, the sound and the control, I have so much power, all those things that go on with it.
Leave it
And I
for a range.
love shooting guns, but yeah, do it safely, do it in where it goes. I've had, when we lived back in Georgia, the neighbors' kids, two houses over, and it's all woods, right? So you can't
Oh
see
yeah.
anybody, but
Yep.
they're out there screwing around with their shotgun. And I'm out, I just, step out on the porch just to, because it's close.
Yep.
So, it's close enough. I got to know what's going on basically. And I don't know that they have a backstop or anything. So I'm just kind of making sure they're not just like firing at stuff, or maybe there's animal problems. Who knows? And I kid you not, pops off and it rains down on top of my house. Now it's just buckshot, probably. It's just shot either way. It's not going to
Sure.
penetrate, at
But
that
still.
point. It's lost most of its velocity and momentum and all that. And it just all over. And man, you've probably never seen me angry. You've probably seen me upset. I was angry. I was yelling.
Yeah, I wouldn't want
And
to see you angry.
I mean, I popped. I put because that's my house. I had at least two babies in the house, right? And
Yeah.
I'm yelling and I'm dad voicing it all the way. And I hear them yelp and run away. And they're a ways off in the woods, but they were screaming. And I'm like, mm. And what I should have done was call the sheriff and just said, "Hey, these kids were popping off a gun. They need to figure it out." But my thought is, you learned your lesson. You just recognize what you did was wrong, and you know you're going to get in trouble for it. You're not going to do it again. Now, I could be
Mhm.
wrong in that, admittedly, because, kids. But dang, man, don't go firing your gun in the air. What are you thinking?
Well, speaking of houses getting hit with little like metal balls, that kind of thing.
Projectiles.
Yeah, projectiles. When I was a kid, I was one of those kids where it's like, for the most part, I was a good kid, but I would also like to push the envelope and just, do those things that just bring memories like this up when you're in your 40s.
Right?
Um,
Yeah.
so
Stories for later.
yeah, my parents were not home. I don't know where they were, maybe work or something like that. It was the summer, so probably they were working and we were just home being
Hmm.
kids.
Yeah.
And me and my brother and a neighbor kid had our BB guns out, and we were shooting at targets and everything else, but at the same time we thought it would be fun to see like distance wise what we could do, but we didn't want like the BBs to like go somewhere they wouldn't. So we started shooting at targets that were up against my parents' house. They have vinyl siding, and we put
Mm.
all kinds of holes in their vinyl siding.
Hmm.
And what made it even more interesting, because it was a small town, was one of the police officers saw us because they drive by our house all the time, and we thought we were being sly by like trying to like get away. And next thing you know, there's like a knock on the door, and the officer's there, and he's all like, "Y'all out shooting your BB guns?" And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "I'm pretty sure I saw you guys out there." Like he's like, "It's not against the law or anything like that." He's like, "But," he's like, "Where's your parents at?" And he knows them by name.
Oh
He
yeah.
didn't say, "Where's your
Wow.
parents at?" He
Yeah.
called them by name. And I'm like, I think they're at work or whatever. And so he ended up driving over to where my dad worked
Oh
to tell
no.
him,
No. Oh
and
my God.
I
You
got
might
my
as well he
butt
should have
chewed.
shot you. He would have
Oh
been
yeah.
nicer and kinder just to shoot you right there and
Yeah, it'd have
walk
been better if
off.
he'd have just cuffed me and
Right? Put you
then
in
took me to
jail.
jail. Like
Yes.
at
And
least,
then
yeah.
tell your dad after work. Let your dad work his day and then go
Oh
screw him
yeah.
up. Oh
Yeah.
man.
So so that happened. And then
Jeez.
to kind of go along with the whole fireworks thing, I don't know if I told this story or not, but did I tell you the story about where I ended up telling Hezekiah that I didn't make it through like the end of sixth grade without getting put in school suspension?
No, I don't think
So on
you
the
might have, but I don't remember it.
on the last day of school, my sixth grade year, I showed up with a bag full of fireworks. And
At school.
yeah, at school. It was the 90s. I wasn't gonna shoot them off at school.
Sure.
I just brought them in the bag in my book bag because I was going over to my buddy's house after school and we were gonna shoot them off in the alley.
Sure.
And sure, yeah. But
I
I
mean, that makes
was
sense. Yeah.
really dumb and I ended up opening up the bag to like show it to my
Uh-huh.
buddies.
Uh-huh. Of course you
And,
did.
and the vice principal walks by when it happens, and basically I got yanked out of that conversation real quick and thrown into a four wall room with a desk, looking at the wall all day while everybody else was having a good old time on the last day of school.
Right,
so,
last day of school.
so I
Oh man.
congratulated Hezekiah. I was like, "Hey man," I was like, "Way to make it through sixth grade without getting put in an in-school suspension." He's like,
Yeah.
"What?"
Good job. Yeah, you should get a gold star. Like
Yeah,
you're doing better than your dad.
yeah.
Yeah. That's what you
So
want. You want your kids to be better than you. Good job.
yeah,
You're raising
exactly.
him right. Good job.
I waited till after to tell him about it.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
helps.
And the other thing is, I think too, that you and I and our generation, let's say, have done enough absolutely stupid stuff to tell our kids to know, to look
Oh
at what our
yeah.
kids are going to do and see, like, huh, you're going to walk out of the house with a bag of fireworks. No, you're not. I'll bring it to you after school because you're going to open it. Because you're going to open it. I mean, come on. What reasoning person would think you wouldn't? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
and
good.
and with it being the summer too, like I don't know how things are nowadays for some folks, but I mean we like my kids definitely don't have quite the childhood that I had, mainly because I'm around here at the house. Um, and I think that's a big difference is styles of working are
Hmm.
what much changed compared to back in the day. But I think also too, like, I don't know, I don't know if it's just a scenario of like, oh, like I'm gonna try to like protect my kid from things or whatever. But at the same time too, like I feel like I've come into a situation where I feel like I have not given my kids the opportunity to just have experiences as well. So
In a way,
Corey
yeah.
Corey and I have been kind of talking about that because I was trying to figure out like, okay, like, I want to get him outside, I want to get him to do things like,
Hmm.
that kind of deal. I think it's more of a punishment now for kids to be told you have to go outside than anything else, which is really annoying because with the whole idea, like, you think about back in the 80s and 90s, that kind of deal. Like, for me as a kid, I basically like Sandlot, Stand By Me, and The Goonies. Like, you smash those three together, like, that basically was my like childhood, minus
Hmm.
finding a dead child on the side of a railroad track. Uh, if you know, you know.
If you know, you
Uh,
know.
yeah. So, but I mean, everything else though is like that kind of, just adventures, all kinds of fun things to do or whatnot, and parents
Yeah,
not really even around to question what was going on. Hey, you made it home alive. Awesome. Have a seat.
right.
Dinner's on the table, kind of deal.
Yeah. Street lights
Uh,
came on, you go in, kind of.
yeah. So trying to
Yeah.
figure out ways to just embrace the fact that, hey, my kids are 9 and 12. They can actually do stuff. And we live in a neighborhood where like they can go out and like explore, and it's
Hmm.
it's safe for them. And two, on top of that, like they have communications that we didn't have. Like, we had
Right.
walkie-talkies back in the day, which the walkie-talkies that were back in the day are nothing compared to the walkie-talkies of today.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but at the same
The
time too, like,
kid versions
oh,
today are what we
yes.
had as like the construction sites had as adults in our when we were kids. It's
Right? No
ridiculous.
kidding. It is ridiculous.
But there is a
And
lot of communication. Go ahead, I mean interrupt you.
no, no, you're fine. Yeah. So lots of communication. I mean, you got watches that can call and watches that
Hmm.
can text, that kind of deal. So just trying to be like, all right, like they're safer than you think they are. Like, give them
Hmm.
the opportunity to sort of like spread out and do different things. So like that's what this summer, we've been kind of trying to lean on
Yeah.
some of those things to be able to give the kids just some freedoms that, we otherwise just kind of kept in
Hmm.
our back pocket.
Yeah. And understanding that we do live in a different world. We do have to be careful of things. We're aware now of things that were happening even to, our generation as kids. And we recognize, yeah, there are things out there you've got to be aware of. You've got to be, concerned about. Don't get into a van. I don't care if they have puppies. Don't get in the van, right? Those are things, though, that we're aware of. And like you said, there's better communication now. We have better locators. We can watch our kids even through their watches. I mean, it's amazing stuff. But it's very important, like you brought up, to give them that freedom. And I
Hmm.
feel like a part of parenting as a dad has always been we're your stable, safe foundation. Like if you take them to the playground, as a good example. All right, I'm going to be sitting right here on this bench and I'm going to let you explore the playground. Don't go outside of the boundaries, or we'll have to have another conversation, but stay within the boundaries of the playground. And then these are the things that you need to be aware of. Like that's a metal slide. Don't slide down that. It's 500 degrees. You'll burn yourself, right? Or that climbing wall is amazing. You're right. But notice that at the top it's bent a little bit or it's curved or you could fall or you could trip here or this is how, like if you're going to get on the I don't know what the thing is, like the merry-go-round that you spin yourself, like you run beside it or whatever, or you sit in it and somebody spins you. Those are great and a lot of fun, but the teenagers are playing over there right now. If you get on that thing, the teenagers are going to spin it so hard that you'll get flung off.
Yeah.
So, but we're not telling them they cannot do these things. We're saying, I'm here. These are the dangers in the world. You figure it out, basically. And we do watch, of course, and we're very, very aware of what our kids are doing, I'm sure. But the reality is we give them that safe space, we give them the dangers out in the world, and then we send them off. Let them decide, let them see, let them adventure. And I think that's very, very important because it does give you a lot of life skills that you wouldn't get otherwise. Teaches you to solve your own problems, teaches you to be more independent, and all of those things are great and wonderful, but Yeah, it is. It is almost a punishment sometimes to send kids outside. What? No, I don't go outside. No, 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 no. Go get outside. Go touch
Now,
grass, as the meme say.
well, and one of the things that we did was I bought hammocks for the kids years
Hmm.
ago, and that's kind of a nice one. It's like go outside. Well, I don't know what I want to do. I'm like take a book and go outside,
Yeah, just go
and
sit outside and read.
they've got the hammocks, and so like they'll get in those, and they've gotten very creative with just other things to do. Like we
Hmm.
actually have like a picnic blanket that's kind of all weather sort of that you can take out and they'll play, board games and stuff on that as long as it's nothing with tiny little pieces to get lost in the grass for me to
Hmm.
find later while I mow. Mm,
Yep.
You know. And so they do enjoy that. And we do try to get them out as much as possible to do things. So but yeah, I mean, that's part of summer. I think that a lot of at-home dads even just struggle with, okay, like what do you want to do? I think in the wintertime you got the dads in the north who are like, all right, do I take these kids out? And I think a lot of times like you guys are just built different. Like guys up in the north are just built different. Like they're just
That's
like
true.
bundle them up, let's go
Yeah.
kind of deal. So, and then down here when it gets super hot, it's like, all right, do I want to deal with a kid that isn't drinking enough water and is going to pass
Hmm.
out on me, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's all these like things you have to like weigh out, but at the same
Hmm.
time too it's like all right, like what experiences can we actually have like during the summer months. So yeah, I
Hmm.
mean that's we were talking before we jumped on that there was a post that basically that I think it was yeah, just the other day that just got posted talking about embracing the joys of July and the summer and just the simplicity of it, really.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully your schedule isn't insanely crazy. I mean, some people can pack a lot of stuff in camps and sports and all that kind of stuff. But if you're just, if you're a dad who, your whole thing was dropping the kid off at school, getting a couple of hours to maybe get some things done at home, and then like going back and picking them up, and now you can't do that stuff in between because
Hmm.
you're constantly wrangling, just embrace the fact that you get that moment with your kids at home because it's such a cliche thing, but it goes by so fast. You're
It
like,
does.
man, like where'd the time go? And just enjoying that time to just go do fun, crazy, or silly things, and or hey, like we're gonna go explore, this part of town that we've never been in, and we're gonna, you know, I take like paper with us, maybe some crayons, and like do etchings on stuff,
Hmm.
or hey, we're gonna go take some chalk and we're gonna go write positive messages on sidewalks for people to read as they walk around. Like there's just
Nice.
so
Yeah.
many fun things that you can do.
Hmm. And the reality of we're going to go on an adventure.
Yeah,
And Shannon Carpenter said it first. Well, the first time I heard of it was in his book when he was talking about, I take my kids on adventures. We don't go run errands. We don't go, we're going on an adventure. And this is what the adventure is. Maybe it is, we're going to go write messages. But whatever it is, you determine that, but you tell your kids, we're going to go out and have an adventure. So then they see it as an adventure. They see it as fun. They see it as something, yeah, let's go try this thing and see what happens. And I love that idea again because I think it leans really well into being a father. Having that moment of, well, we can we can say I'm going to go to the park or I'm going to go on a treasure hunt. You know,
yeah,
that kind of changing the wording of it and then figuring out, I mean, I don't go outside somewhere with my kids every day through the summer. I don't. We're too busy. I've got a lot of kids. We got stuff going everywhere. And when we do camps, a lot of times you can't go to the same camp. So I've got one in the morning that two go to and one in the afternoon only one goes to. And it just destroys my whole day in a lot of ways. Now the kids love it and they have fun. It's great memories. But just those days, like 2 days ago, where all we did is went outside and hang out in the background in the backyard. It was sunny. It was a nice day. I didn't really need to do anything. Like, I didn't have too many things going on in the office here, and just getting outside. And yeah, they didn't want to, not at first. They didn't want to. They didn't want to wake up. In fact, they just wanted to sleep until, I don't know, whenever. And so we got up before it got really, too, it didn't get really warm at all here. I'm just going to say it's 71 right now, whatever. But before the sun got up too high, and we got outside and just spent some time hanging out. One played on the slack line, one, laid on the hammock and read a book, like you mentioned. We got some of the games out, just yard games we've got, throwing things around, hitting a ball back and forth. Played a little volleyball without a net, just kind of trying to learn our sets and everything. It was great. And they had a great time. And then I had a watermelon ready. It was in the fridge, freezing cold, brought it out while they were playing, and they lost their minds. They were like, this is the best summer ever. I'm like, cool, cool. All we had to do is go outside in the backyard for a couple hours, let you burn off some energy, and then have a watermelon. All right, that's easy. I can do that. I can recreate this memory for you. Right.
Right. That's easy. Yeah. That's awesome, man. I think that, just that's a simple thing to do. Like,
Hmm.
it seems like it's not going to be enough, but like the kid's reaction, like, this is the best day ever. Like, you're like,
Hmm.
great. Like, in your mind, you're
Hmm.
like, that, no, but
Well,
what your idea of greatness is and mine are totally different. But hey, we're
mhm.
also many moons apart from each other
Yeah.
in age.
And
So,
and you mentioned like being there with your kids and how it can be, like if you're used to having some time off, like you are, like I get a break and now I don't get that break. Or for those of us who are all day, every day with their kids still, young kids and what have you, and they don't, or they're homeschooling and you just got them the full time. And embracing that is so very important because I want to tell you the most sobering thing that I've ever heard about parenting was someone looked at my oldest and he was 10 at the time, and it was going into the school year again, starting up, and he goes, all right, so that's your 10th summer. And I went, oh yeah, it is cool. And he said, and you only have 8 more. And I
yeah,
went, you shut up. You
that's
shut up. I don't want
sobering.
to hear that. You just shut up. I don't want you to ever say that again. They're not leaving. They'll be here forever, man. But that moment of, oh, crap. Yeah, I need to make every opportunity count. Like you said, it goes by fast. And
Yeah.
if we're not making time to spend with our kids, making time to have memories with our kids, it's going to be gone. I mean, we're already, into July. When did that happen? I didn't think it was June yet. And that's the way your kids' childhoods are going to be. They're going to be gone and they're going to be out in college before you know it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, savor that, even though we understand it's very frustrating. It's very demanding being a full-time parent, but find those moments with them, embrace it and understand that you may not get it again. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I think too, like doing fun little mini road trips is another
Hmm.
great thing to do in the summer. I mean,
Oh
like you've
yeah.
got the entire day, like, okay, great, we're gonna wake up, we're gonna get breakfast, and we're gonna go 90 minutes away, like and
Yeah.
go do something. Like I was if things weren't as crazy as they are right now this summer, there were some things that would be put in place, which there's still time for it. So there might be some things because like where I live at, like I'm 90 minutes from so many different things. It's kind of a neat place to live in that fashion.
Hmm.
Like Columbus, Indianapolis, Louisville, Lexington are all 90 minutes from me, and there's so many different things to do in all of those places.
Hmm.
And just and there's plenty of dads too that live in a lot of those areas too, so it's kind of cool. Like you're like, hey, like I'm going to be coming up to this area, and you'll be able to meet up with another dad and their kid or something like that, which is
Yeah.
another fun thing because like maybe you don't get to do that very often. And
Hmm.
I think that that's just kind of a fun little thing, especially if it's a dad that you like know from the network too, to be
Hmm.
able to get that
Yeah.
opportunity, like kind of this like mini let's say micro home dad con for a few hours to just get to hang out with another dad. So
Right.
that's that's one of the things that sometimes it's like, all right, how do I get this? How do I put this in play? It might take a little bit of extra planning or whatever, but to go somewhere, that's 90 minutes away, spend a couple of hours and drive back. Like totally worth it. Like
Hmm.
what great time. I mean, and depending on your kids, I mean, they could do everything from just sleep the whole time
Right.
to maybe they're gonna just like, you know, play games or whatever. Like it's just time to just maybe ask a whole bunch of questions to them and see what they say or
Hmm.
whatever. Just ask them questions until they get annoyed and fall asleep too. Whatever it is. But yeah, just, put on some music and sing along, to whatever it is. Like
Hmm.
we don't ever listen to like any like kid pop type stuff. Everything that we listen to is pretty much either new music or it's actually stuff from back when I was younger. So
Hmm.
that is a lot of fun. The kids enjoy all that stuff. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
coming up with those different kind of things is always just another way to like make memories and just enjoy the time.
Hmm.
I will say this though, disclaimer. Sometimes when you plan these things and you do them, there is a bit of what's the word I'm looking for? Um, it's not jealousy, like questioning, guilty, or feeling maybe guilt, a little bit of guilt towards the fact that you're getting to have these experiences without your significant other,
Yeah.
without the children's mother along kind of deal. And I mean, that's a conversation to have with your partner,
Right.
honestly, about
Right.
that. I think that just addressing it, letting them know like, hey, like, I'm not trying to cut you out, and also too, like, I want to know how you feel about this and that
Hmm.
kind of deal. That
Yeah.
way, like, it's just that kind of is understandable because one, sometimes the kids are going to ask, well, why are we going on this without mom, that kind
Right.
of deal. Or dad, like, why are we going on this thing, like, what's up with that? And being able to have a good solid answer,
Hmm.
I think, is very important.
And addressing it with your partner, like you said. I remember times asking Marnie, "Do you want to go up at the top of the driveway and get the kids off the bus? I don't need you to. I'm fine with doing it, but do you want to?" Because that's the moment that the kids, that's the first moment they get back to the house and the first person they see, and they're always excited. They always have at least a lot of energy. If you ask them what they did all day, they'll say nothing.
It's like coming home to a
But
bunch of puppies.
yeah, it really is. It really is. And giving your partner not only the opportunity, but the permission, and letting them see that, look, I know you want to show our kids love. I know you want our kids to love you. I know you want to spend time with them. So would this work for you? Can you do this? Do you want to do this thing? And I've found personally that it's way easier for me to just let her do it or I do it. But when we both do it, it gets to be a little more
Competitive.
demanding,
Okay.
demanding. That's what it is. Because she doesn't parent like I do. And in my opinion, a lot of times she's ignoring it because I'm there. I mean, she doesn't have to do it. She doesn't even realize that it needs to be done. I'll hear the kids say something like we're driving, like you said, road trip, and they say something, and she's knitting and ignores it or doesn't hear it. I don't know. And I'm driving, I'm navigating, and I'm trying to deal with probably a ton of anxiety already. If you're going to be here, we need to partner up. And that doesn't happen as often because I don't ask for it. That's not her because she's more than willing. But I found that it's easier for me because I don't know how to ask for help well, one of my major problems. But then I just go, why don't you take them? You take them and I'll stay here and clean the
I,
house or whatever. And
yeah.
that's also very vindicating as an at-home parent that she comes back toasted, just done. I don't know how you do this all day. That's right, you don't, because I do it and I'm the dad. I don't know. That's not that. It's not that egotistic, but it is good to have that on their own time with the kids to develop their own habits to do things
Yeah.
their own way. And for us as the most, I don't want to say responsible, the most involved of the two, like we have the most time with the kids, we have our own ways, and honestly, we probably are doing it the most efficient or the best way for the kids because we're in it all day all that. But that doesn't mean, and I'm saying this to myself and all of our listeners, it doesn't mean that how they do it is wrong.
Right.
That doesn't mean that how they do it isn't going to be good. And I'm a little bit of a control freak. I'll admit it. I'm getting better, but I don't like to let my partner do that stuff. I'm like, what are you doing? No. Why would you give them hot chocolate at bedtime? Why? Why would you give them hot chocolate? Sugar and caffeine, it's bedtime. You put them to bed and you get them up in the morning, you know? No. It's but stuff like that, you know, they do it. But I
Yeah.
love the fact that you're thinking of that and you recognize that because this again, this is like my youngest is 10, so 8 summers basically,
Yeah.
and I need to make sure my partner's enjoying that as well, taking part in that as well, seeing that and you know, and
Well, I've seen the conversation so many times, like come up where dads just feel guilty that, you know, that they're getting to do these things and it's not a full family, you know, type situation. And, you
mhm,
know, or even too, like, I think sometimes too, like if the conversation doesn't happen, that can also just drive a huge wedge in between things and just bring in
right.
like resentment that doesn't need to be there where a conversation would be the thing that would have made it so much smoother
Mhm.
because you know you're like well you go do something and then like you know she comes home or your partner comes home and they're like well I wanted to do that with them you know I
Yeah.
wanted to experience that it's like oh okay I wasn't
Yeah.
trying to cause a
Right. It just
cause a
happened
fight.
and
It just happened. Exactly. But it does happen. I mean, and that's like I said,
mhm.
like that's the thing you read about all the time from different dads. And I think that the one thing that we constantly talk about is that having a conversation, communication, like over communicate, honestly, like
Right.
with what you know, what it is that you're trying to do, you know, just getting everybody on the same page is really important. And so
Mhm.
and also too, is it gonna maybe be tough conversation? Sure. But is it necessary? Oh yeah. Big time.
Oh, very
Totally
much so.
necessary.
Before
Might
it
as well
becomes an argument.
oh yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
realistic, that's before it gets to the point where you have been feeling resentment for 3 months and you finally explode and say something and you're like, wait. Why didn't you just say something? I would have
Right?
stopped that. I didn't even want to do that or whatever. You don't know their feelings or situation either. So like you said, open communication,
Yeah.
honesty with yourself as well as your partner. Because a
Yep.
lot of times we're not really willing to say, look, that hurts my feelings, or I'm jealous of that, or I'm a control freak, you know, whatever thing you might personally be dealing with. And I'm sure there are other people out there that are control freaks. It's not just me. But that understanding that you have to tell them and you have to let them know. And then you ask them for that same courtesy. Is this okay?
Yeah.
Is it in any way upsetting? Do you want to do this thing? Do you want to, you know, I don't know, buy her first dress, you know, or her first fancy shoes or whatever? Do you want to teach him to ride his bike? Do you want to be the one that does this or that?
Yep.
And honestly, I feel at least with 2 kids and up, because that's when I started feeling it, that I'm fine. You can do whatever you want with these kids. I need a break anyway. You want to go teach them how to ride the bike? That's great. That's your thing forever. Keep that. I'm okay with that. You want to teach them how to fish, whatever. That's fine. You take that out. You keep that. And if there's anything you want to do, take it off my plate. That's great. Do
Yeah.
it. Because I'll stay home and clean. And it
That was the
won't
one
change
thing.
anything because it'll still look dirty, but
Yeah,
at
that
least
was
I'll
one
have
of the
done
things
something.
last summer that I kind of realized was that I was getting very frustrated trying to teach the kids how to like ride their bikes. And
Hmm.
Corey was like, she's like, can we just tag out? Like, and I'm like, sure, no problem. And then she ended up like kind of taking it over and I got a chance to just relax, step back or whatever. And I mean, were we doing things differently? Sure. Were we getting to the same goal? Yes. And that was the point. Like, and so
Hmm.
just getting that opportunity to be like, fine, I'm just gonna sit back because she was just like, just go do something else, like whatever. She's like, go get a beer, just sit in the garage and have a beer, whatever it was. And that's kind of what I did, and but I could watch what they were doing also too, and it was fine. Like just getting to see that. So,
Hmm.
but I think those are the things for the summer, man. I mean, that's getting to
Right.
that point where just trying to enjoy it, have fun with it. It's only a few months, and then they're right back to school again.
Right.
And, just have, set up those times. Like I was looking at that post a little bit more, it was like talking about like, running through the sprinklers and just building things and just, that
Yeah.
kind of deal. Like, that whatever small thing that you think is small is probably actually much bigger to your kids. So
Hmm.
create it, let them have at it, enjoy
Yeah.
it, don't overthink it.
Right. Right.
So, well, hey, I think that's pretty much all I got. I don't know about you, man. I know it's
Yep.
getting to that point. So hopefully everybody is still getting things around for Home Dad Con and getting that planned. That tickets are still available for a little while longer. There is a deadline coming up though, so
Hmm.
don't wait too long.
Yep.
And
Jump on it, guys.
hopefully we'll see many of you in San Antonio very soon. But other than that, hope you all have a great week and we'll talk to you all again real soon.
Good night, everybody.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.